Right, well, hello there, and welcome back. So we're going to look at task 2 on this specific paper now. Again, as I said, please bear in mind this is live recording, anything can happen. So we'll just see how we go. So I'm just double checking that I have actually got the right screen share going on, otherwise this will be quite embarrassing. Yep, got it done. Okay, so we've got some tasks today. So what I do is I invite you to read along with the paper attached to this paper 1 here. So then you can actually follow through. So it saves me having to have the paper on the screen, which is going to make life a little congested. So you'll see that we're going to be set a task. Okay, I'm going to be following this just off the screen out of sight on one of the screens. Okay, and essentially we're going to produce a spreadsheet. Okay, now what you need to do is actually read through. Okay, what is actually said here. So I'm just going to talk basically through the process of what we're actually going to do. Okay. So, all the files that you get will turn up potentially in a zip file like this. So just a recap, to open a zip file, right click with your mouse. Please get yourself a proper click mouse, not a laptop pad. Not the best option. I don't get on with them, so I'm biased, but good old fashioned mouse with a wire into a USB port, can't beat it. Okay. I clicked on my zip file and I'm going to open with Windows Explorer. Okay, that's how I do it with mine. Now we notice we've got all these other bits and pieces going on here, which could be or could not be relevant. So I'm just going to extract all, and you get a box like this that appears. Now it's going to go basically where I've got all of this saved at the moment. So I'm just going to click on extract, and we now have the files extracted. Now, if I don't, it makes life very difficult to get in and out of everything. So same that time extract. So now I have got my files that I need. Now I know that I need to look for units sold to 2010, following the instructions that I've got from my question paper, which again you could be following through. Units sold. Oh, okay, it's here. Now you're automatically thinking, well, how do I know this is going to be an Excel task? Papers, as far as I can see over the years, have never ever varied. Okay, task 2 in this particular instance will be spreadsheet. You can put your money on it. Okay, sometimes level 1 it goes opposite way round, but level 2 very rarely. Okay, and I mean, so the clue is once produce a chart, then it talks about doing figures showing increase and decreases in value. Hello, use ICT to work things out. And again, if they start saying use ICT to calculate figures and things like that, that means you're doing the spreadsheet. So here we go. So what I'll do is I'm going to highlight all of this, or I can just do Control A. I'm going to copy and get spreadsheet open, and then I'm just going to paste. He says, hopefully, and everything goes in. Okay. Now, again, it's just a little bit cramped up, so I'm just going to space things out a tiny little bit. Okay. I'm just going to do a little bit of tidying up while I'm here right now. So, first of all, I think sometimes what you need to look at, so we're going to have to produce a chart. Well, what we need to do is before we can produce a chart, we need to start doing a list up of what we need to do. Okay. So what you might need to be thinking about is how we're going to put things together. So it takes a good idea at times to read the spreadsheet task as a totality. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm actually just going to talk it through, and then you can pick the main points out. All right. So we've got a spreadsheet. I need to show units sold to date. I can't type, sorry. Been a long morning already. To date. Okay. I think we'll just capitalize that already. And we're going to have it then, it says increase. Now, of course, automatically you can see things are getting a little bit congested. Okay, no problem. I just double click in here, doing a little gap here. You see the little arrow thing? There you go. I've got a bit more space. I've got a bit more space. Now, you might find you're going to have to put a formula in. Oh, here. You're going to worry about that. Okay. The formulas aren't going to be very complicated. However, I cannot wave a magic wand. You are going to have to memorize and learn some or learn basic principles. Okay. In this one, which is units sold to date, that's not so bad. It's just a straight adding up. Okay, equals sum, when I spell it correctly. And that's what you essentially need to do in front of all formulas. Okay, this might slightly vary depending on the version of Excel you're tugging, but this one, this is how I have to do it. So equals sum, bracket. This is essentially what you have to do with all the equations or formulas you're going to have to do. Now I can type in B4 and C4, or what I can do is I can just do that, click on it, hit the plus sign, which is just next door to your backspace key above the equals button, or the equals sign. Click on that, and here we go. Hey presto, close the brackets. Here we go. Our figures are in. Right, it's added up. You can see there's the formula displayed there. So again, what I'm just giving you a general overview really of how this spreadsheet comes together. So I'm using my drag and drop here, which then replicates that formula all the way down. Okay. The reason Bristol area has gone a little bit like that, but we'll just move that a bit. There we go. We also need to demonstrate increase. Okay, it's looking at basically, for those of you who do the maths papers with me, the differences between these two. So our formula for this one equals sum, brackets, and sometimes they give you a little hint. Here we go, look at our paper. Each region, the percentage increase in sales, the units sold is minus the units sold in January, with the result divided by the units sold in January. Okay, so this is actually based on this little task here, 2%. So sum. So I'm looking at February. So that's going to be C4. Let me just type C4, it'll be easier. C4. And we're then going to subtract that from our B4. Close my brackets. And this week's almost a little bit different. Divide. So if you see that type of formula coming up, okay, so just increase sales sold, this type of format is giving this. What you're getting is a little bit more of a clue to how you're going to construct your formula. Because as you can see, for those again doing maths, we're doing BODMAS, BIDMAS, whatever you want to call it, order of operations. What comes in the brackets comes first, what's outside the brackets comes last. So what this essentially is doing is telling Excel, right, this bit in the bracket, this is going to do this little bit here, take this away from that, close the bracket. Now you need to divide that result by the January result, and that will give you a percentage. So I'm just going to do that now, and it's put it in. But have we noticed something? I'm just going to pull this all the way down. We've got lots of decimal points going on. I'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, actually, let's do it now. If I go to general, percentage, it will change it to percentages for me. Okay, so that's quite important. If you start trying to tell it to B4 is going to be the percentage, PowerPoint doesn't like it. Sorry, PowerPoint, Excel doesn't like it. It gets a little bit grumpy. All right, so what I do suggest you do very much with this is just get used to the habit that actually you're going to have to tell Excel to do the formula here. So we've got our percentages in. Now let's do another thing. Now the other thing they like you to do is presentation. Okay, so as I said, I'm just giving you an overview of how this all works. Presentation is important. Okay, so before we go any further, because there are some other bits and pieces we need to do, we're just going to tidy this all up first, because it then makes sense for the next parts we've got to do. Now we've got different font sizes, so we've got two ways of doing it. I can do highlight one part of it, format painter, and let's do a drag down like so. Hey presto. Or I can look, right, I've got Arial 11. I can do this and just change it to Arial. Okay. Now, one little eccentricity will happen if you've just formatted this into percentages and you do the format painter option. Your percentages are all going to disappear. So what you just need to bear in mind is you might need to put it back. Okay, again, you might also just want to, in your own mind, do a little tick list as you're ticking these off, making sure you've got everything in. Okay, but as I said, I'm just doing the main overview of the spreadsheet, then we'll start going into the nitty-gritty. So one of the things I also want you to do is make sure it's formatted, it looks good, it looks pretty, basically. So I'm just going to highlight everything here, and I'm going to do all borders like so. Okay, so that makes it look a little bit more neat and tidy. I might just decide I want to do bold here. I want to do bold here. And I might want to do bold there. There we go. So we have got our formulas and everything else now. So that's our basic spreadsheet. Now we can start playing a little bit. Okay, notice that's gone a little bit out of size. Okay, I've just created that, just corrected that. So you might find at this point, right, I need to name it. So we'll go here. Let me just see what I originally called this for task 2 that we're doing. So sales figures 2010, sales 2010 video. Okay. So that just lets me know that I'm actually, this is the video file. Done. They might want you to do a print off of the formulas. Okay. Do that. Formulas. Show formulas. Okay. Here we go. And here we have all the formulas now. I'm not going to physically print this off. I'm assuming in the process you'll test, you'll be physically printing this off. But I'll show you how to get around it if you're not going to be physically printing off, and you just have to have what's called a PDF copy of it. Print. So here is where your printer will be selected locally. Okay. But what I'm doing here, I'm going to print this as a PDF. So that still counts as a print off. Okay. But whoever comes out and just sets the test up with you, they'll explain what's happening at this point. So to carry my print off, just show you how to do it. I'm on print F, print off. I want active sheets. I want to change this to landscape. And I want to fit sheet on one page. And then what you can actually see is everything fits. Now, interesting enough, the numbers are moved across here, but don't worry about that for the moment. It's because we're playing with the formulas, okay? So that's why that format has slightly changed. So what do I do now? This is also good if you actually want to quickly save a document. Instead of doing all conversion PDF stuff, you can actually click on print in Word, in PowerPoint, and here you go in Excel as well. And you can actually then, this gives you the option of saving something as a PDF, which means a bit more difficult to alter. Okay, print. Right, okay, so here we go. I've gone a little bit around the computer again. This file samples, task 2. Okay, and give it a meaningful name, as they call it, video. Okay, save. So what I've now done is I have now done my part with the formulas, which they may want. I'll just click on that and it takes the formulas out. Right, so next thing is that we might need to do something else. So we might need to consider chart showing the top regions and things like that. So what I've got here, we've got a chart. We need to show a chart that's going to show an increase, and a chart, and then a truncated version which is going to show the least amount of sales. So quick and easy way of doing that, if I just highlight my column here, and what I'm going to tell us is to sort all the information. So I go to home, I go sort and filter, and I'm going to go largest to smallest. And then ask me expand selection. Yes. If I just click, I just click on continue, click on this bit, continue with current selection, only this column will alter, which isn't going to do us a lot of good, part of my French and part of my language here. Okay, we need to expand, because then that then lines all of this up with all of this and alters the whole lot, which is what we want. Okay, so this is now where I have got everything now in order as I want it. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to quickly, for a reason, change this down here. Units sold. The reason will become clear in a minute. And I am going to produce my graph. Now, again, read through, you'll find that they like you to do graphs in these things. Okay. So, what we will look at, just bear with me one moment. I just want to double check something. Okay. Bear with me one moment. Okay. So, I just came back and I just want to double check something. So, what I'm going to do now is, let's have that. I need to do a graph to show the top 5 selling regions. Okay. Region 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So South Yorkshire, Kent, January, February now, options here. Okay. So to do this, I go to insert and I go to recommended charts. Now, those regulars notice I did something a bit sneaky there. I clicked on the box outside. But if you get this message come up, what it probably means is that there's something outside the spreadsheet that you've actually got marked still. Just remove it and go back. Now, what you also find sometimes do, you might be asked to do columns that are not next to each other. Okay. In this particular format, it's easy. I can just highlight them all. But sometimes this not happen. So what you need to do is highlight your first column. Then if you keep Control key down and CTRL key down, you can then highlight other areas as applicable. But this is just the information I want here. I'm going to recommended charts. Let's go for a bar chart. Okay. The reason I've gone for that becomes a little bit clearer when we come to one of the tasks later on. When I click on OK, and there we go. There's our little chart. Now I just need to name it. So I'm just going to do this, not quite like that. Top sales regions. Well, now they are going to want us to print this. A little bit difficult there. So let's do something a little bit extra shady. This is good practice for you to know. We're going to move the chart. So I've just clicked on it again. Move chart there. If I right click on my mouse, I can move chart here. And this is what happens. I click on move chart and it asks me if I want to put it into a new sheet. And the answer is yes, chart 1. But in this case, it's going to be top sales regions. Okay. So I'm going to call it that. It's going to become clear in a moment. Now watch. I click on OK, and that graph goes into here. Now, other thing you need to do, again at this point, insert header footer, because you've created a new sheet, if you like, within the main document, and you need to name it. So I'm going to go to custom footer, and again, when you this setup, it'll come up a little bit differently. Okay, header. So those some of you run older versions of Excel will recognise this format because this is actually how it generates footers normally. So I'm just going to do custom footer, center section, name, click on OK, click on OK, and that'll put my name on the bottom. Now again, if we feel that we told you need to print off, you'll go to File, Print, select your printer, print active sheets, landscape orientation. Yeah, we'll set this up and that's fine. And there you are ready to actually print your graph off. Okay. So we'll just do that now to the next slide through, print. Okay. Sales, sales, top sales. Actually, let's just call them top sales region chart. Top sales region chart 2010. Video. Okay. Done. So that will now create that. Right. So we've done. So I'm going to go back here, and the last thing they want you to do on this one is to show the people that had sales less than 2%. Okay, quick way of doing that. I'm just going to go to increase here. I'm going to go to home. I'm going to go to sort filter, and I'm going to go to filter. Why? And I use arrows and just say why. If I click here, we can then see everything. So then what I have to do is click on those that are under 2%, click on OK, and then we have all our figures there ready to go. So again, I'm now going to save this under a separate name. Sales figures 2010, below 2%. All right, and then I'll save that. And then all we've got to go, you double check through. This is all the information that you will actually need. Now, you might find you have to do a copy and paste this across later on. Okay, I'm not going to say it, but you might find you need some of this information. But the advantage is once you're into this part, if you do need to go back and alter something, it's not so difficult to do. Okay, you can often do that. But again, it's the internet section. And once you've finished it, that's the end. That's done. Okay, so that's a walk through that spreadsheet. Okay, I've just walked you through to give you a general overview. Okay, it's down to you now to go back and have a look and have a go at your own format and have a try yourself. Okay, but this is just a guide to talk you through how it actually functions. As you can see that I had to do a couple of movings around to get the final information I needed at the end by sort of moving through it. And sometimes you do need to actually read the whole of the Excel question first. Okay, this is what I've learned with these questions because I've sometimes found there's something that happens further down the line that you need further up. Why they do that, I don't know, but this is what I found. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for watching. And I will see you on another video soon. Thank you very much.